Over now with video and audio. Well,
All the O's.
welcome everybody to the TForce LCS rundown. This is your host, almost choking. This is your host, Modganor. I'm joining you shortly after 9 p.m. Eastern Time, along with. Who am I going to pick first? Who deserves it? I think we're going to go best dressed, and I have to say that I'm pretty disappointed across the board. I have let's see, camera, kitty corner down. I have nothing. You have no sort of formal wear, just an open shirt, not a lot of chest hair. I've got Optimus Tom on
Working
the
on
right
it.
with some bright teal, and I've got Greg below me with absolutely just boring ties. Come on, guys. What do you have to say
I've
for
got
yourself?
a
Look at me.
pinstripe shirt and a
Look at me.
cravat. What?
Look at
This
this.
isn't even a tie, my
He's got
friend.
the cravat.
Will you look at? You want to know what this is?
Do you have a pocket watch?
This
You know
is
what
a
that-
pocket watch
Ooh.
with
It's not
my
high def enough.
name inscribed in Gallifreyan.
Oh,
Ooh.
First,
Yeah.
I thought he was
Hold
going
on,
to whip
I can't
out.
hear you. I can't
thought
hear
he
you
was-
revel in its majesty.
I thought you
All
were
right,
going
I'll
to
give you
whip
that.
out a pocket watch that was golden with the Trinity Force logo, and I was like, "Why did we bet for that?"
No, you should have gotten one engraved with your initials, which you found out this week actually spelled TSM.
Right? I'm destined to be a Team Solo Mid fan because for those of you watching from home, my initials are actually Well, my name is Thomas Samuel Meringue, so TSM. Great discovery made by our good friend Cereal Box. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves? I have to jump off actually for one really quick second to show everybody joining us at stream.trinityforcepodcast.com on our lovely Twitch stream something very special.
Is it your pocket watch
No.
or something else?
Something else in his pocket.
I don't know. This is going to be weird in a second, I think. But
all right, well, I'm Credible Mushroom.
I am, as the aforementioned cereal box.
I am really tired today. I'm Optimus Tom.
Yeah, I am.
That's all right. You
just-
can phone it in as usual.
I like his picks.
Oh, we're going there already.
Oh
I mean-
man.
Not that I'm
Foreshadowing.
complaining.
I'm disappointed, by the way, that nobody went for a Wrecker's Penis reference when I had to go whip something out.
Well, we can't see what happened off stream.
I feel so bad for
Keep
Adam.
breakfast penis in your pocket.
I feel so bad for Adam this episode. He's just gonna have to tailor so much of this. When
Damn
does
it.
the podcast begin? Who knows?
It's already started. We introduced ourselves already.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, you
Right.
guys know who I am. And for those of you who really know who I am and who are super excited to meet me at PAX, everything has come in for our awesome PAX experience. For those of you going to PAX East Boston this weekend, we have about 1 billion Trinity Force buttons.
Very cool.
Very
Those podcast
exciting.
people that can't see that, I feel very bad for you.
Well, you should get excited about it because you can use my lovely description to live it. We have
Oh dang.
Ooh.
Trinity Force
wow.
t-shirts, which very curiously smell like vinegar.
Sorry, I remember one of the teams at promotion relegation one time ordered shirts. They got delivered to the hotel and they smelled like fish, so they had to douse them in cologne, and then they smelled like Axe body spray, and I think that's why they lost.
I think that's why Reginald was so sick all those times. Was it Reggie or was it Dyrus? It was somebody from TSM got sick. And then, get jealous. Look
The
at that.
special shirts.
Look at that. That's a TForce LCS rundown t-shirt.
Looking
And
good.
One of these, along with 10 riot points, could be yours if you come find me at
10
PAX
riot
East.
points?
What's that?
A whole 10 riot points?
$10, I hope.
Just 10 riot points. We got them specifically made to get you absolutely nothing.
You
The
can get
idea is
almost
that
a
you
mystery
sort of
gift.
earn up to.
Right. And
a
what
rune.
what even is 10 riot points in total riot points? Is that
It's 10.
Sorry, $10 in Riot points. 10 is 10.
Thankfully, we have somebody who works for Riot here to clear that one up.
I closed the client,
Contractor.
so I can't actually check.
I can
will
find
try.
out real quick.
Well, while we're
Pretty
finding
sure
that out,
it's
again,
like
come find me at PAX East. I actually just found out I will be podcasting live from PAX East with the guys from VR, which I'll tell you what
1380,
VR.
by the way.
What's that?
1380.
1380. 1380 points can be yours for
Get
free.
that new Rumble
Just-
skin.
Just by telling me Optimal Tom. That's all you gotta say. You just gotta come up to me and go Optimal Tom, and then everyone will come around me and be like, "Oh my God, Optimus Tom, you look so much different than you do in real life." And I'm gonna be like, "No, I'm Mott Ganorum," and they're gonna be like, "Who?"
Oh, who?
Maybe
Wait, do
really
you have
fast.
Wrecker's penis in your pocket?
So
I
I
just-
like. Good.
I just found out, by the way, that my old Twitter account at InstaLockMid has been hacked a bunch of times, and now follows and retweets just a ton of porn. So sorry if you've been following that, but
Look this up.
I guess that
Or you're
happened.
welcome, depending.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, you can put my Twitter on there now for the.
Oh, that's right. You are tweeting. What are
I
you
am. I
tweeting?
guess I am now. It's at Mitch Chocolate Chip, but spelled kind of weird because of character limits.
All right. Well, you'll
I'll put
have
it.
to.
It's in Skype.
Awesome.
So
Whoa, Instalock Mid let me know I could get $99 furnace tune-ups this winter. Thanks, Instalock Mid.
That was actually a work thing, which was awesome. So, all of you who are listening out there in podcast land, we are going to have a extra special episode for you today because so much stuff happened. We're just going to kind of let the conversation roll. So let's hop right into it. Please do not forget to check out our other shows, the Trinity Force podcast and the Oz LOL podcast. And now you have an extra special way of doing that. If you go to trinityforcepodcast.com, you will land on the Trinity Force hub. It has everything and anything TForce. That's the Trinity Force podcast feed, the TForce LCS podcast feed, and the Oz LOL podcast feed. It's all there. You can subscribe. You can find your way to Twitch, the stores, the different social media profiles. We're working on enhancing this further with caster profiles and everything like that. So there's just going to be a ton of stuff. But head over there. Again, it's trinityforcepodcast.com for everything Trinity Force. It's pretty awesome if you haven't checked it out. Yeah.
Very
It looks
large.
quite nice.
Right. So, this week, Super Week, lots of things happened. We
So many
have
things.
we have playoff brackets secured. We have dreams shattered. We have winners becoming losers. Losers like XTG becoming glorious winners, beating the number 2 team TSM. We just had so much stuff go on, and where do we even start?
Tuesday.
do we want to do all LCS right now? Because there's a few side notes we could jump into outside of the LCS and then just roll through EU and NA for a while.
Let's do it. Take us away.
Well, the big news from Korea this week was everyone thought SKT T1K. We're just going to call it K for now on because it's just going to take way too long to say that over and over. We thought they were pretty much out of group stages thanks to their destruction at the hands of Arrows. But then their sister team S decides to go ahead and, well, I shouldn't say decides to because that's what all the controversy was about. Went ahead and lost to Prime Optimus 2-0 and set up a tiebreaker between the two sister teams to see who goes through.
Collusion. Sorry.
Hey,
I'm
you sound like
allergic to
Reddit.
Korea. I think I of everybody have the proper way to diagnose collusion, having casted MLG Rally 2012 between Dignitas and Curious.
Oh, yeah. I remember that one.
It's just so like, all right, from an outsider perspective, like from a person that doesn't follow the Korean esports scene very closely, it's really cool that they get another chance to potentially make it the playoffs and continue to be the dominant force in League of Legends over there. From not only just someone who watches Korean League of Legends on a more regular basis, but also from a competition standpoint, it's like a okay, what the hell is going on, guys? Seriously.
But, I mean, and I'm not saying either way whether or not this was staged or this was real, but I mean, I can't imagine that Riot would be too pumped as a company that their goal is to make money. I mean, they want to give us, an awesome game, and they want to make it an enjoyable experience. But at the end of the day, if the company isn't making money, I mean, we're not going to have what we have. And I feel like what contributes a lot of that money is having star teams and star players make moves, be in there, and do what they do. I wonder how it is when an awesome team like SK is in position to drop out, how much that's really going to affect things, Do you think, and I'm not saying that Riot has any hand in making these decisions, but
Well,
I mean, do you really think that these prime teams, if they drop off, I mean, how long do they really stay out of the scene?
well,
What?
first off, it's an OGN thing too, so there's
Yeah,
not
it's
even
not
like
Riot.
any
Oh, true.
Riot influence within it. But
I
I-
was more trying to move over to EG
Teams.
with this, but keep going. Keep going. Tell me things.
I mean,
oh, go ahead.
it's like it's weird. Obviously, you want your star teams to be there, which is why there are things like promotion relegations, so someone doesn't automatically drop out for being last place. They get that last chance to save themselves. But when it comes to OGN, like you do have that after the OGN tournament is done, and the teams still have NLB to go through. So there's a team like Najin Black Sword that could still go to Worlds because they wind up winning an NLB, and a year ago has done really well in OGN. So it's not like the team drops off the face of the earth. So I don't think they, even like from an OGN standpoint, I don't think they care all too much if one of the SK teams drops out.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Plus, you have to account for the fact that every major team that drops, like if you want to move this to EG, I hope they don't, but say EG
do.
fails in relegation.
I really do.
Shut up. Say they do fail in relegation. Well, there's a new team in, and that team gets their opportunity to become superstars and build themselves up. I think one of the best things that the League of Legends professional scene has going for it is that it's remarkably merit-based. And there's lots of new opportunities for teams to come in and make plays, make trades, build followings. Stagnation is going to be the death of the game, really. So even if these super teams all of a sudden don't start performing as well and they fall by the wayside, as long as there are new stars developing and coming in, I think that's fine, really, in the larger scheme of things.
I wonder what effect this has on sponsorships, because when you have a team, when you have a company, I mean, this is a business that is sponsoring a team, and they're sponsoring certain players, and they have their core roster, and you get teams like Dignitas, who have like the Scars of the world, who never leave until Optimus Tom tells them to. And then they leave. How this affects it, because if let's say EG, who's current, does anybody know who currently is sponsoring EG, and if there's any exclusivity to their
You can
sponsorships?
find out.
Well, a company like EG, you also have to remember, has multiple games under their belt. So everybody who sponsors EG isn't necessarily sponsoring it just for their league team. So you have Monster Energy, HyperX, Razer, Astro. They pretty much sponsor a lot of different teams. But then you have CyberPower PC, who is not iBuyPower. So that's someone that's maybe a little bit different. Need for Seat, which is a gaming chair company designed by humans, who are graphic t-shirts and things that would be more of a merchandising sponsorship. The ZAM network, which is like a network of websites for like news and stuff. And then BenQ, who also sponsors Gambit, so I don't think they care all too much about EG's League of Legends team. But
I mean, if you get knocked out, if you're this star team, if you're this pro team, and you get knocked out, you're Snoop and you've been kicked to the curb, and you're now, you lose your relegations or whatever.
then you become a male model.
Or you just do what every other LCS player who starts losing, and just become a coach. or retire and just leave.
I actually think
I guarantee you that's what's going to happen. I
in
guarantee
EG's
that.
case specifically, I'm actually hoping that happens because I think he'd be a fantastic coach, and I think they need a more aggressive jungler.
I want Snoopy Stare back. I want crazy jungling force where people make awesome. The moment that I decided that I was going to be an EG fan or a CLG fan back when this happened on the EU side was somebody made a YouTube video where it was Snoopy's ridiculous. He was playing Cho'Gath and did a ridiculous flash over the wall and ulti a guy. After he just got absolutely wrecked and had to like go off to the side. It was some crazy play.
And then lived with the level up against World Elite during World Final Season 2. Yep.
But somebody photoshopped down into like the little box in the corner where he would be. It just photoshopped him staring, doing the Snoopy stare into the camera. So it's like he comes in. Oh no, it was a guy. He got away. So the guy, he's under his own tower. He's fighting off two guys at once. He kills the first. The second goes around, and he flashes over and ultis him. But the whole time it's just staring. And then as it's ending, you can hear the casters in the background going crazy. And then the whole little his stare thing just takes up the whole screen. That's the Snoopy I fell in love with. And then when they came over to NA, I was like, oh, publicity stunt. They'll do pretty well. They'll be competitive. It'll be fun. And then they just sucked. And now they're here. Not all the way at the bottom, but still pretty low. Couldn't meet expectations, in my opinion. And I think their team's going to get beat. I think they're going to lose their relegations match. Somebody cooler is going to come in. Who are they even playing in relegations?
We don't know
I
yet.
think they know. Because the sixth place team will get the first pick of their of the three relegated or promotion able teams.
Okay.
I don't see them losing the relegation match, honestly. I think when their back's up against the wall, especially now past Super Week where they've done better than expected, I think they'll be able to step up. And they're not going to be world champions next year, but I think they're going to remain a strong team. I think they're going to make a few roster changes and probably come back a bit stronger in the second split. And I don't think they're not going to be irrelevant, I don't think. I think they're going to be active. I think they're going to be an LCS team. They're going to beat their relegations. And I think they're going to be more of a force the next time around.
I mean, I think if that's what happens, I will be a little disappointed, especially with XGG as well. Because if neither of these teams can find their sort of swing, and I think this is probably a good segue to start talking about these two Super Weeks, unless you guys have anything else burning you'd like to get into.
There's only the one other thing outside of those is that the second All-Stars team was determined with TPA winning GPL. Mm-hmm. So they got the Season 2 and Season 3 World Champions going to All-Stars.
I love that, to be honest. I love them coming back. And I love they just released the SK skins. And those look
SKT
awesome.
Skins, yeah.
And I'm going to buy them all.
I'm going to buy every single one. And
I'll never use half of them, but I love that concept. I wish we had more things like that. Where
I was going to say, but just to piggyback really quickly, not only does TPA lock in the fact that they are going to All-Stars with this, but the GPL finals, which should have taken place earlier this evening.
They beat AHQ.
They beat AHQ. It was an all Taiwanese final. So
if anyone wants to watch that, Game 5 should be a blind pick game. I didn't actually watch it yet, but they have that best of 5 stipulation in Korea and I guess Southeast Asia where this game always goes to blind pick, which creates really fun teams because they can pick whatever the hell they want.
I was really disappointed, though, that AHQ didn't win because Westor is my boy, and he's been my boy in the Southeast Asian scene since, like, Season 1. He's, like, when people say Twisted Fate, they always think of, oh, Messiah. You know, he teleports in, and he Zanya's hourglasses, and he looks really cool. Yeah, well, Westor, and he teleports in, he kills people. Like, that's, like, Westor was, like, the quintessential Twisted Fate for me. I mean, for pretty much all of League of Legends, and the fact that he's still playing and still doing well and doing things like mid Shyvana and carrying his team to a 1-loss season, I don't know. I really wish we were getting AHQ. Like TPA is a really good team as well, but we saw them at IEM and they were okay. Like they had a really good game the first game, then kind of petered off into not being relevant. I want to see AHQ. I want to see like the fresh blood. Plus they have the ridiculously awesome track jackets that I wish I could buy.
I don't know. I look at every other team that isn't NA and isn't EU, and I just look at it as a team that can crush anybody in NA or EU. And IEM showed a little bit of that, in my opinion. I think it's still going to be kind of a rock, but like, do you think that just the way that NA and EU have to play their games and how they grow throughout the split, that they even have a chance going into this All-Star series?
I mean,
yes.
we saw Cloud9. I mean, I think Cloud9's got a good chance to at least show up. I don't know how EU showed Fnatic and in finals. I'm not surprised to see any of them do well because this is the top tier for everyone from every region. So
I don't know if it's just me, but your quality is very poor right now.
I think the European teams will actually probably be pretty strong. They had a fairly good showing at IEM, even Millennium. Even though they didn't go terribly far, I thought they did fairly well. And that's like the bottom of the barrel in EU. So
I don't know. I have my eggs in my basket for C9. I think if anybody from the from NA or EU, I guess our side of the world, is going to make it, I think it would be C9. I've just been so impressed with their ability to absolutely dominate and close games in almost every kind of scenario. I mean, I want to go back and really dive into their 4 losses, but I just think as a team they came out so hot in their first, LCS run, and then they just haven't really let me down ever. I think every match that they have lost has been like a really tight game, and I don't know. They haven't hurt me like TSM has.
Aren't they like 48 and 7 or something right now in the LCS?
Yeah.
It's just stupid.
I mean, it's it's just so ridiculous. And the thing is like, if you were to ask me what makes Cloud9 great, what player, what particular style of play, what champion do they pull out to really dominate, I couldn't tell you. They just seem to have so much skill in the game just in general, and their team is so well balanced that they just dominate. They do so well throughout everything.
Shyvana, Rumble, Meteos.
They're not super distinct. I actually think they had a more distinct style last season, where you had Meteos with those revived junglers that was sort of a trademark. This time around, not so much, but yet they win. Like, it all comes together somehow, and they get it an early advantage, and like you said, they close it out. I don't think there's any team really in either EU or NA that plays better with a lead than they do.
I like
It's almost impossible for a come behind on anybody that they play. I think almost all their losses have been they got crushed early and couldn't turn it around.
I like comparing them to a Gambit in NA, where
Gambit,
not
the
Gambit we've seen in the last not the Gambit we've seen in the last 2 days of 2 weeks of the EU LCS spring split, but the Gambit where if they lose the early game, they probably lose the game. But they are a very jungler synergy focused team that around the 18 or something minute mark, if they win a fight in that time period, they go on to win the game. They close it out, whether it's through vision control, whether it's through objective control, whether it's just through pushing their lanes. They close the game out, and they do it before the 40-minute mark of the game even hits. They're just a team that's so synergistic. Like, the problem is right now, Gambit's been around since Season 1 with Team Empire, the end of Season 1, beginning of Season 2. People have had the time to be like, oh, Alex Ich, oh, Diamond Prox, these guys are big names. If you gave Cloud9 the same amount of time, people would be saying that about Balls. They'd say that about Meteos. They'd say that about the players on Cloud9. So I always compare, not only are their playstyles very similar, but given another split or two, you're going to have like the Cloud9 superstar names like rise up with like the be called part of the best players of like in the world. If you look at their stat lines, they have the numbers to prove it. It's just that because you think of them right now as a winning team and not as individual parts because of the way they play, it's so much different compared to when Gambit rose to power.
That's also kind of why none of them are definitely online to go to All-Stars if they didn't win the spring flip.
Well, the only one would be Meteos.
Yeah, but I mean, like, they are Media's top 2 right now because they're not that big of star power, like you're saying. But
I'm trying to look at the games that Cloud9 lost and see where the deficiency was.
I mean, it was 2 good teams. They lost 1 to CLG, 1 to TSM, and 1 to Dignitas, so the 3 behind them, and then 1 to XDG somehow.
Yeah, TSM, CLG, XDG, and who's the last one?
Dignitas.
Dignitas. Yeah. And how about that XDG pulling out a win today? I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud of them. And at the same time, I can't wait for them to be kicked out.
Yeah.
I wish all leagues were like the EU was this split, where it's so close and you have to wait to the last couple of weeks, or at least the last Super Week, to fully count out a team. Like, it just... I hate looking at a schedule and trying to decide which games to watch and which games to pass over, and looking at a game where you go up against a team you're going to suck at, and just not bother to watch it. And today, I thought to myself, TSM versus XTG. That'd be a fun game because I'm a TSM fan. But I probably won't watch it because I have better things to do than just watch TSM cross XTG. Womp womp. I don't know what it was. I have to go back and watch that game. Did anybody see that game live? It happened today.
No.
The ending.
So
I watched the last 15 minutes, and it was just crazy back and forth at Baron for a while, and then
I think
it was like a 50-minute game maybe. They each had 1,000 gold. It was super late game. I don't even remember the comp.
I think the deciding factor for me was around it wasn't even the last Baron of the game, it was the second to last Baron. TSM go for a dragon attempt, and Xmithy is over the wall, and he's not in range to repel over the wall to try to smite away the dragon.
That's tragic.
But the rest of his team is doing Baron. And TSM just kind of blissfully, they back away from the dragon, they go back into the lanes, and they're just blissfully unaware that all of a sudden XDG has a Baron buff. What? You are the second place team in the NA LCS, and you just traded first Baron of the game for 4th dragon. What are you doing?
And we talked about this a little bit in the pre-show, but at the same time, win or lose, is second place going anywhere?
That's the shittiest excuse in the world. That's like when they lost to, I forget who they lost to Dignitas or somebody earlier on, and they're like, they tried a level 1, Coast. It was against Coast. They tried a level 1 strategy, and it didn't work. Their full game. Oh, boy, boo-hoo, TSM. You're going to cry that they looked at the mini-map and your level 1 got fucked up, and that's why you lost? No, you played the game like shit. You didn't prepare for it. You had your best champions. Turtle had Corki. You know what Corki did for Cloud9? It dominated in the LCS.
To be fair, if are we talking XTG versus TSM on this one? Or are you talking about the Coast game?
I'm talking about TSM being shitters against shitter teams.
8-2 on Corki. You know why TSM lost that game? You know what the spread was? Burger King against ManCloud. Bjergsen was 5-6-2. ManCloud was 4-1-16.
On Orianna.
And on Orianna. Syndra, first of all, I don't like Syndra as a pick at all. I think that was just Bjergsen having fun in a game that truthfully didn't really matter at all. The only thing that TSM lost with this thing is pride. They were the only team that XDG didn't have a win on in the entire North American LCS. And XGG got that boon before they get kicked out in relegations. I guess. I mean, just overall, the team, you can see the team fights. Just by looking at the stats, you can tell that. And I haven't watched the game or anything, but you can tell that just by the assist rates, XGG fought every match, every kill in that as a team, and TSM didn't.
TSM's supposed to have the best team play besides Cloud9 and the NA LCS. Ugh.
See,
We need to help him out.
I only
later.
watched
You okay,
about
Tom?
I only watched about 2 games a day, more or less, because some of those games I just honestly couldn't be bothered.
And a lot
Well, I
was
think
decided
TSM's
already.
problem was a massive case of not give a fuck. Like the Cloud9 game, they just did not show up, and
See that one though. That one mattered. So
I don't think
there
they
was
think
a
it
lot
mattered.
of fucks. I think there was a lot of fucks given that game.
I don't know about that.
I don't think they came into that game prepared. I think they came into that game knowing like, hey, we really have to work on our Baron fights, and we really have to work on this whole lane swapping mentality. And then Evelyn, who is, in my opinion, Evelyn is a terrible jungler to pick if you're going to be taking down turrets within the first 5 minutes. I mean, with the rate that we've been seeing towers go down so fast, Evelyn has the best advantage of getting into lanes without being seen and taking shit down. But if you aren't working a normal laning scenario in the classic sense of the word, I just think Evelyn becomes a shit pick. So when Cloud9 gets Evelyn, what do? They ensure that the laning phase lasts forever compared to how it is on other games. And then TSM gets stomped. I mean, Cloud9 played a decisive game. And there goes fucking cereal box. He's gone.
The XDG of internet
Kevin
connections.
Wrecker back. Without
Oh,
the
shit.
penis, though. Well, I, mean, I assume he has a penis, but...
Yeah, sorry, I dropped off there for a second.
No, that's all right. I don't know if it was just me, but it sounded like your audio was going for a while.
Is it sound better now?
Nope.
No.
I can't see your
No,
Not at all.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm gonna reconnect in a second. All right.
Oh,
Welcome
sorry,
to
all
the-
people watching in Streamland. It's all
Welcome to the
messed
Trinity
up.
Force podcast, where our 4th member is Blitzcrank.
We need to get the Amumu a little sad with the radial thing. Well, while he's reconnecting, and since we've been pretty much talking about NA Super Week, I'm just going to run through the stats, what we saw this week. We had Cloud9 defeating XTG, Curse over Coast, C9 over CLG, Dignitas over Curse, TSM over EG, Dignitas over XTG, TSM over Coast, Curse over CLG, Coast over Dignitas, CLG over EG, C9 over TSM, CLG over Dignitas, EG over Curse, which impressed me, XTG over TSM, which I'm just going to laugh at, C9 over Coast, and EG over XTG. So that last game, I mean, EG versus XTG, they're both tied. They're both basically in the shit position of one of them having to play, what's that really bad challenger team? LMQ, is it?
Yeah.
That everybody is
LMQ.
The scary
terrified.
one. Yeah.
How does a China team get put into NA Challenger? Can somebody explain that to me?
They live in North America and therefore participate in the tournament with which they live in the region.
I don't like this region swapping stuff. I think it's awesome, in the sense that you get exposure to different parts of, I guess, different play styles from different areas. But first of all, I hate the fact that different regions and different, I don't know, what would you even call like the LCS versus OGN? What would you call
Tournaments.
that? Different tournament styles. I hate the fact that they're different tournament styles coming into it. We could do a whole episode on just the pros and cons of having like a point system, or even a series where you go in the best of 3 versus, you know, these one-off games. But I just think it sucks.
I
think
like
it
points.
sucks. Yeah,
I like
the
points in
point
regards
system.
for worlds qualifications that Korea and LPL, and I don't know if LPL's doing that, but that GPL's definitely doing. And I think that just works a lot better because it puts a lot more. You get a lot more out of your spring split instead of just the qualification for all stars.
Yeah.
Because C9 could win this, could stomp through the playoffs, and then finish anything outside of first place. They could finish like fourth in the summer split and not make worlds, even though they did so well. That's kind of like what happened with GGU last year. They got pretty much nothing for finishing second in the spring split.
Yeah. I think teams like XTG and EG would do a lot better if it was in the scenario of, when you're playing best of 5 or best of 3 games. I feel like these 1 versus 1 and you're done. It makes you pretty much pick the safest picks as possible. You don't get to throw out anything fun. I like fun picks. I like picks where you don't know what to do.
You like cheese comp?
Unless you have a team that does their research and specifically tailors a composition to face the enemy team, which at this case no one really does, not because they're lazy, but I think it's due in part to time constraints and due in part to the fact that everybody is afraid to lose that game.
I mean, you saw Timo in the first week. That's probably the most cheese I think I saw for the whole season.
I don't know. We saw 2 Mordekaiser games from Roccat, too.
Okay, but as far as NA, though. But that was also early, though, wasn't it? Those were pretty early.
We had a Mordekaiser in, like, week 3 and then another one in, like, week 8, I think.
Okay.
The first one was way better than the second one, but...
I want to see more, though. I want to see, like, the craziest shit. I want to see more Heimer games. That's what I want to see. I want to see
I don't
crazy
want
stuff.
to.
Why
I
not?
get
I want to see
nightmares.
more. I want to see more Timo. To be honest, the one time the Timo was played, it was so entertaining.
I think that was more a shout out to the fans, the people who are there live,
word.
than anything else. Because you can hear it. Like, you see when a team goes into picks and bans with a smile on their face and they hover over those champions that makes the whole crowd go nuts. Mm-hmm. Those are the best ones. But they always end up going safe. They're going safe because you have to. I mean, I don't know how many games you could take if you were doing the best of 5, best of 3s from a week-to-week standpoint. I think in the current layout with the current volume of games coming through, probably the LCS way is the best. I just think it really facilitates a mentality of don't play to the best of your ability, play the way that the current meta, my least favorite word, the current meta works and the current way that you can beat the teams you're immediately facing. And then you go to a world scene where you get destroyed by people who can throw out crazy stuff.
I'm not sold on that. I think
when has it not happened?
I think the metagame is there because there's certain things that work. And then my favorite word to counteract meta is niche. And niche picks destroy meta game safe lane picks.
Define that.
Case in point. What has been the strategy for top lane in the past couple of weeks?
Sit there.
Farm.
Just sit there. Don't do anything.
So you sit there, you farm, you don't lose your lane, you wait for a jungler to maybe get a kill, and sometimes you swap it up for a 2v1. So what do some teams do? Well, some teams, they pick a jungler, they jungle as the top laner and let the tower fall. What do Copenhagen Wolves do? They pick Heimerdinger and shit on everybody. That's what the Copenhagen Wolves do.
And I love that. I want more of that.
That's so awesome. Some of these teams, when their backs are against the wall, are not afraid to whip out their dongers and wave it in the face of their opponents in the top lane nonetheless and just shit on people.
And you
top
know why
lane
that
Rise,
works? You know why that works?
Because they're awesome.
It does. That doesn't even matter. The fact,
great reason.
The fact that it pulls out bans in games that doesn't even involve CW, that's when you know that works. When people are like, "Well, fuck, they're gonna pull this out." We don't have an answer for that.
Not this
I feel
time.
like that's what happens in Worlds. Is you go, "Fuck, we can't ban out teams here." But we don't have any way to prepare for these teams because they're not the other 7 teams we've been playing for 10 weeks straight, and you get shit on. It's just this how it is.
That goes both ways, though. Like that
No,
advantage.
It doesn't. It
I
doesn't
think
because the other team
the not playing
lives
the
in
same
that.
team's advantage, and this is a different team.
The other team is Bane.
Well, you also have
you
a lot more
were-
teams in the other ones. In the other regions, you have a lot more teams playing in their professional scenes. Like, and LCS is locked to those 8 teams for a while, and you've got 16 in Korea plus whoever's in NLB. I think the GPL has, I just had that pulled up, maybe like 12 playing at a time.
Yes, 2 groups of 6.
I think same thing probably with GPL. I think GPL and LPL are pretty similar. So you get to see a lot of different things than just.
I'm going to be out next week. I think we should do a whole episode on the other leagues in the world.
Next week would be a terrible time to do that.
Next week would be a great time because
we have the
there's
playoffs,
no
don't we?
LCS.
Oh,
No, that's 2
is there a week
weeks.
break?
Oh, yeah, that's
oh,
what you guys
okay.
are talking about while I'm gone. Because I have, I honestly, I don't follow it at all. I just
me
know
neither.
that when they
Do
get
a lot of
here,
research
they're
on
going
week.
to win. That's just my expectation.
Hey, Tom, I had a question for you. Do you know if that new patch, the 4.5 that everyone is just shitting their brains out thinking about, is that going to be played for the playoffs?
I believe so.
Yes.
Because
Yes,
they
it will.
keep talking about it.
That doesn't make any sense to me. I feel
You
like
know
they
what?
should stick
Well,
with 4
and
for
that's,
the
yeah, that's a shitty thing. Why would you switch patches mid game?
for just the tournaments. Yeah, and I mean there were so many things that came out for just that one patch, and there's one thing I'm really excited to see from that is see if anyone starts messing with a lot more of the boots enchantments, because I know the main TForce podcast talked about it. Like, there's a lot more options now that Home Guard isn't going to be instant buy for everyone.
So here's the thing. I have absolutely no problem with them switching up patches over the course of a 2-week break because being able to adjust to that and being able to deal with change in the game and adapt to new strategies, the practice, the preparation, I think all that stuff should go into what a championship team is. So I am 100% fine with that. I'm 1,000,000% fine with that.
I think the best part about this patch change is the players aren't saying that things have been nerfed to a point or anything. Everybody, I don't think I've talked to a player that doesn't like the things that have been changed in this patch. Everybody, visibly so far,
Isn't this
has
the one
been.
that? Sorry.
They've been very receptive to a lot of the things that have changed. Like, okay, Ziggs' attack range got nerfed a little bit. Lee Sin's W got changed and it was a slight nerf, but there's more AD carries that are becoming viable. A lot of the other picks coming in are great. These boot enchantments give us all these different choices. There are these new item path builds and stuff like that open up supports and other roles to all these other itemization routes. Everything looks great. The only thing is, the biggest complaint I hear players, specifically the players on the LCS teams, saying is 2 weeks is not enough time, which I counteract their point with, well, fuck you guys. You got to play on the Worlds patch for the last weeks of your tournament, and Korea, Southeast Asia, and China did not.
Yeah.
But is that going to happen again?
We don't know.
But I mean, I suppose if everybody somebody in the Twitch chat does make a good point. If everybody is on that same patch, and if everybody's in the same situation, it is an even playing field. I don't love the fact that a team that's been dominating all year, if they can't adapt, I guess they end up sucking. I wouldn't want that to happen.
Nope.
I wouldn't want that to happen mid what I would consider season, mid split, or even in the championship rounds of the split.
I'm sorry, but just know if the entire reason of why you were able to dominate the LCS is because one particular champion was really strong or one set of items was really strong, and that's what you did.
Excuse me.
And you can't adjust if that goes away, then I'm sorry, you're not a world championship team. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Period.
I mean, let's be honest.
You're just not. You are a meta team.
Let's be
and
honest.
meta teams are not champions.
Nobody out of NA or EU is the world championship team.
Well,
maybe C9, maybe SK, but I don't know. I just
fanatic. Just throwing it out there.
Honestly,
Technically, yes. Season 1.
I have they have my heart in their hands. This All-Star. I want to see something out of All-Star. I want to see a mega either NA or EU win. It doesn't matter. I hold no loyalties going into All-Star. I go into the NA EU bracket. And as long as one of them wins, I'll be pumped.
I want the Earth mode in the All-Star game. I want to see
That
more
would
of
be
that.
super entertaining.
After that,
I assume all you guys saw
game,
the Cloud9 TSM Earth.
That was amazing.
that was incredible.
I would
That
never
was-
want to have to cast that.
The best LCS game
No, it
they've
was
done.
Perfect. You can't
That was the
possibly mess up
best-
with that.
That was the best April Fool's joke I've ever seen. Like,
But it was a joke. Everything came through. Like, we're actually getting to do all those things. As opposed to the April Fools when they released Lee Sin and they said, oh yeah, he can kick people through the Nexus and win instantly. The only problem is your screen's blurry. Like, that was actually a joke. This happened. I think it's still happening. We just played one right before we started
yeah,
casting.
we did. KL.
That was brutal.
I
I actually
it's a
hate
way for-
playing
pretty
Earth
nice.
mode, but I love watching Earth mode. I wish the
I
entire
love
LCS was in Earth mode.
I love Earth mode. And the problem with stuff like Earth mode, this happened with ARAM. I watched that TSM versus Cloud9 game, and I thought to myself, man, I am never going to play Earth mode because it's going to be so ridiculous. It's not going to be fun. I'm going to hate it.
And you
fucking
played AD
love
Malzahar.
I watched. I thought the same thing about ARAM. When ARAM came out, I was like, "That's dumb. I don't want to play that." There was a while where I didn't even play normal games or raid games. I logged in, played like 3 ARAMs, and then went to sleep. And now I'm doing the same thing with Earth mode because it's awesome.
Wukong.
Teemo.
So much fun.
Teemo. People hate Teemo. They think Teemo sucks in it. You start off with 20 shrooms, and you can do constant blinds. You just can continuously blind, and you have the speed boost too. That's always up. It's nice. Who's your Earth mode pick, Optimus Tom? We got Wukong. I'm gonna even say Teemo. I won't even go Kale. I've only played really Kale and Teemo, but
AD Malzahar.
oh, that was on Reddit on a YouTube video. Pick something
Yeah.
original.
And that was because I tweeted about it. 750 damage over 6 voidlings. If you ult somebody, it's the most hilarious thing ever. It's like I'm playing StarCraft again. You
They get eaten
ult,
alive.
you ult one person, and like on the last tick of your ult, they're just surrounded by this mob of voidlings, and they disappear like they've been consumed by the void.
I hope Earth mode doesn't end anytime soon. I was a big AD Cho'Gath player in Twisted Treeline. I want to try AD Cho'Gath because you have infinite silence, infinite knockup, and then I wonder what his ulti, his 1,000 true damage is in terms of a cooldown at 80% cooldown.
I feel like he can feast once every 8 to 10 seconds or something like that.
That's ridiculous because if you can knock up in silence all the rest of the time, that's great.
It should be about 10 seconds.
Is there a comp yet that constantly has somebody in the air? Because that would be pretty fun. Get Alistar, get Cho'Gath, get some. I'm not even.
You have to have like
thinking about them right now.
Alistar,
Blitzcrank.
Wukong, Cho'Gath, Blitzcrank,
Blitz.
and then run Yasuo just to
Oh
make it work.
my
maybe
goodness.
Janet too.
Janet,
Alright.
yeah. I like
Janet's
the
pretty-
circle area doing that though.
Yeah.
You get them all just knocked up in one area. Just even if you're not doing that much damage, they just can't move forever.
I had to ban one game, and somebody kept typing ban Sona, ban Sona, ban Sona. I'm like, I haven't even seen Sona yet.
Uh-oh.
Why would I ban Sona? And then Sona only built health, I think. It was like health resistances, and then just a little bit of damage, and destroyed us. Like, you couldn't do anything. And obviously, she got permabanned. She got deleted.
She got deleted from the
Ryzen
game.
Ryzen Cassidy. Although I was
like-
thinking
I like-
about it, like, oh, that was a funny joke, right? And then I thought about Cassidon just void walking across the entire map and then just destroying you every 2 seconds.
The problem is with Cassidon though, his Rift Walk mana cost still stacks up, so it reaches a point where his mana cost is higher than the mana bar that never goes down, and you can't cast it.
Oh wait, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
But how does that even work?
because it's a stacking mana cost, and because even though everything doesn't consume mana, it still has a mana cost.
Oh,
So in the game, it'll
But,
stack up to a point where, like, if Cassidon goes like
but did
6
that happen?
tiers,
Did that happen with Kog'Maw? Because that's how Kog'Maw's ultimate works.
Kog'Maw will do the same thing,
Interesting.
which is why Tear of the Goddess is still one of the most broken items in Earth mode. Because if I was like, I don't need mana, what am I gonna do this for? Well, yeah, but you can just
Dude.
infinitely stack your mana at like a 2-second cooldown, and just go like shoot and buy a death cap, and then every AP champion is ridiculously
I didn't
overpowered.
even think about doing that. I hope there's a way you can do private because I want to test that.
You
You
can.
can do whatever in those.
Nice.
I did Urgot and built Manamune in the first game, and the amount of damage it does on single targets once you lock on is ridiculous because you're just firing 12 missiles that all have that Manamune or Mirror Mana extra damage.
That's ridiculous.
Let's not
I
forget,
haven't thought
we're
about
only talking about this because this is the future of LCS.
that. It is, and it's going to be the bright and glorious
Feature of League of Legends in general.
No joke. I literally wish it was the future of LCS.
This would that would pretty
game
much
was so
mean
much fun to watch.
you're going to have to watch about maybe 2 hours for a whole Super Week, and that's going to be it.
Yeah,
I would love those
I'm into
days.
it.
Bring on the Earth mode.
all super weeks in Earth mode from here till the end of time. Period.
They should do Worlds on Earth mode and not
Yes.
not mention it. Don't tell the players. Don't tell the viewers watching at home. They go in, they're like, "Wait a second, that was weird. Why was that blind pick?" And then all of a sudden, they're just running through. And I think people also forget you don't need normal lanes when you go. I've watched arguments go over about who's going to be top and who's going to be
Yeah,
bottom.
what is with that?
It's like, hey, I'm just going to play Jace and go wherever there's room.
You just run teleport exhaust on everybody and just run around the
I
map.
didn't think of exhaust. I've been doing teleport flash.
I do teleport exhaust because that way my voidlings can catch people.
Because you're only playing the one champ.
I'm only
Understandably.
playing Malzahar.
Yeah, I had pretty good luck with Trundle too. Just because he turns into a monster and you can just continuously bite. You can bite faster than you can auto attack. You don't even auto attack. You just bite.
It'd be amazing if you could stack that AD you steal.
No.
Do you stack it?
Oh,
No, you definitely do not. That would be insane, especially if you kept stealing the AD too.
Oh,
Like you kept and you could do multiple of the ultimate name that's escaping me.
dominates.
Yeah.
Subjugate.
Subjugate, but you can also pair that up with Blade of the Rune King, which everyone was like, "Why would you build an attack speed item?" Because it's percent health.
Yep. No, you do. You build that
and
on
you just
Trundle anyways.
activate it all the time.
Exactly. Exactly.
Hextech Gunblade, Deathfire Grasp, is 2-second cooldown Zanya's Hourglass.
Yeah.
Well, I played a game against a Vigar as Kale, and he would put down his little trap. I would ulti myself so I'm invincible, take all of his initial splash, then Q him, and he would die. And I'd laugh as I'm like healing myself and going really fast away.
Well, that's what I kept doing that last game was Scion. We had a Scion against us, and Scion's really annoying to play against because his stuns are ridiculous. So I had Wukong, and I could usually bait out every single stun with a decoy on a 2-second cooldown, which is really annoying for anybody playing against you.
Yeah, it was really bad. I laned against them as Kale, and it eventually got to the point where I could just heal the damage back up, but I died a bunch. Speaking of healing it back up and dying it a bunch, let's talk about the EU before the night gets too
I got
late.
this.
So I'm impressed by the EU because they had this very thin little strip of games where it was like, oh, if all this awesome stuff happens, we won't have any tiebreakers. But everyone was like, but it's the EU, so we'll have tiebreakers. Not a single tiebreaker. The only breaker that's really in there is Super Hot Crew and Millennium because it's a perfect 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13 win cycle. Then you go to 10 and 9. So we're missing 12 and 11, but it wouldn't
In
even be
theory,
possible.
the first 5 wouldn't have happened if we had the bottom 2 being 12 and 11.
True.
Unless we started lower.
Right.
You start
No,
with
I guess
16.
this is the only way this sequence could happen. That's the only
EU's
way
got
this
that
sequence could
mathematics
happen.
going on.
They do. They do. So SK takes number 1. They are alone at 18 and 10.
Called it.
I was totally hoping that SK did not do this, but by the time Thursday or Friday came around, I was rooting for SK to win their 2 games and lock in first place. Thursday, yeah.
How strong is Sven Skaren looking? Every SK game I watched, he was pretty much the guy that got everything rolling. He's
Sven
just
Ska-
everywhere.
Sven
And Rated got
Skaren,
MVP.
yeah, and Rated got the MVP, but Sven Skaren is by far, he is SK Gaming. and then the other 4 members of his team, like Candy Panda
Right.
and N-Rated. But Sven Skaren is the driving force behind SK. If he does not have a successful early game and does not get a successful gank off, SK will probably lose that game. That's how impactful he is on the rest of the game. There have been games where SK was losing the game, losing lanes. I feel like it was against Roccat or Gambit, where Sven Skaren was playing Evelyn, and they dove Freddy in the top lane. And because Sven Skaren was able to clean that up and get a double kill, even though every lane was losing, SK won that game. Because
I
Sven
think that was the
Skaren.
Gambit game.
Yeah. Sven Skaren is a monster, and there are
is
certain champions
Gambit,
you cannot let him have. This is Gambit before they started losing. This is Gambit before the
You know
remake
what,
was
though?
done.
You
The
know
1
what?
in 5 streak.
The team that is today is the only team that matters. Case in point, CLG. If a team sucks now and if they're not winning now, they suck and they're not winning. It doesn't matter their legacy. It doesn't matter how good they are. And
It matters in 2 weeks.
As a good New England Patriots fan who can't say shit against anybody who loves the Giants, it doesn't matter what their streak is. When you lose, you lose. And that's just how it is.
Yeah.
It's very true. And Gambit lost out and got themselves in a very difficult playoff matchup now against Roccat, which honestly, I don't know who to give that game to.
They went 3-1 against them this year.
Yeah,
Rocket
and they
Rocket
did beat
holds
him in
the edge.
They beat
They
him in
went-
Super Week, and
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the stats, but I bet that early Roccat win, the one win that they did have, was going to be in the first week.
No, Rocket won.
Oh, it's
3
Rocket
against
that's
them.
3-1
Rocket won
against
3.
Gambit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Rocket won. No,
Damn.
Gambit only won their first game against Rocket this week, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like that was the only time they beat. Yeah, only time they beat Rocket this year.
And that was one hell of a game. That was Gambit putting the stranglehold on Roccat, like Roccat strangleheld I think it was SK or Super Hot Crew with one of those poke compositions with Nidalee, Caitlyn, and Morgana. And then they picked Kha'Zix. And normally when you pick Kha'Zix, you're like, Alex Ich is going to get the resets. This is going to be great. Praise Gambit Gaming. They gave it to Diamond Prox. And you know what Diamond Prox did? He went 7-0-1. He let the rest of his team have a measly 3 kills while he just leapt to victory. Alex Ich, 0-0-4. In the interview, he was like, I just threw spears and my team won game. Like, that was Gambit when they were angry and had something to play for. Like, if you want to put in the TSM mentality, this is the game that mattered, so Gambit tried. But, oh, man, that was the Gambit that I was really afraid of because they looked they lost to the Wolves. First off, they lost to Heimerdinger. So they were really angry about that one. And I just want to really quickly say, if someone picks Rise in your solo queue game, you want to pick somebody that pushes the ever-living crap out of him. Rise got demolished by Heimerdinger because he couldn't even safely farm because, well, now we're on 4.5, so the Heimer turret doesn't automatically have the laser. Because every time Rise went for a last hit, Young Buck would put down a turret and shoot him with a laser. Now you have to pre-prep it a little bit so the laser is there for when he steps up. But still, that was just a dominant performance. Like, Rise got a gank top lane for first blood and then proceeded to go 0-5-2 for that matchup. And normally when you feed Rise a kill, you're in the danger zone.
Oh no, that's his ult that doesn't have that beam anymore. I think.
I think
I
it was
don't
just the turrets. The turrets don't start with
I
a fully
think it's the
charged beam
turrets
anymore.
in general. I could be wrong.
I'm looking at the patch notes, and it only says that for the ultimate one. But I mean,
Well,
there you go.
That's
I
still
still know how
pretty
annoying it is. I know how
That's
annoying it is
still
because
pretty huge,
I
though.
played against a few top, and I never want to see that again.
When Heimerdinger, when a champion in the EU LCS wins with Home Guard Sorcerer Shoes, Zanya's Banner of Command Guardian Angel, that's awesome.
Call me when there's a home wrecker again.
Oh,
Or
man.
Ohm
All
Wrecker.
right, we'll see if Roccat takes on Gambit. We might see Home Wreckers again.
I mean, I think if
You will,
Gambit
but you'll
loses,
see it on Derry.
I think if either that or going to get an Aatrox.
Those are the two teams to have built Home Wrecker this season. Darien built it and Overpow built it.
I think if Roccat beats Gambit, Gambit's going to lose. They're going to go into relegations. They're
Oh,
going
no.
straight down. They're just going to lose.
You know what's going to happen? It's likely if they lose that one, they might end up against Wolves again, in that 5th-6th relegation match, and Heimerdinger's just going to shit all over them.
Teams that
Hold
team
on,
that gets
what is the scenario? So we have Alliance against Copenhagen Wolves, the winner playing Fnatic. Alliance has 3 games on Copenhagen Wolves, and honestly, I think that one's a pretty good toss-up because Alliance, as much as I love them, I haven't placed any specific loyalty. I haven't planted my flag in any of EU's teams yet, and it may be the All-Star performance that makes me finally choose my team.
Mhm.
But I think that's pretty up in the air. I mean,
just
there's
had-
only
I just had to-
3 games difference between the two.
I gotta say one thing about this matchup that kind of dictates the pace of it. Alliance have won the most games in the 30-minute mark, the 30 to 39-minute bracket, like that very late mid-game, very early late game kind of period. Copenhagen Wolves have the longest average game in the EU LCS. If that game goes long enough, Wolves might be able to take it, but Copenhagen Wolves also have the worst mid-game in the EU LCS.
Well, aren't the tournament things best of 3?
They are
Yeah.
best of 3.
So I think out of all of that, I'd give Alliance the
Yeah.
advantage there.
Especially because they can bounce back from like a 50-minute game 1 and try to take like a 20-minute inhibitor in game 2. And then all of a sudden the Wolves are like, oh, shoot. And they're scrambling. And by the time game 3 comes around, like they might have exhausted themselves to a point.
Unfortunately, I don't think any of these teams, either of those teams, are going to be able to step with Fnatic. I think it's just going to be a sweep, to be honest. I mean, I think out of the two, maybe Alliance would have the best shot against.
They went
Fnatic.
even with them.
And I mean, in a best of 5, I think Fnatic's going to win.
I think best of 5 always favors Fnatic, but I feel like we should pick a team that gets relegated and a team that wins playoffs for both regions.
We're all going to do our picks at the end
Oh.
of the show.
Oh,
Yeah, we're going to pick the whole tournament.
Hello.
Rockcat versus, and we'll go over the predictions. I have the results. Rockcat versus Gambit. I'm going to give it a Rockcat because I don't like Gambit, and I'm going to be solid about that. I don't like CLG, and I don't like Gambit. I think they're 2 super overrated teams, and I think they were great once, but they're not great anymore.
Oh,
I
you
want to see
see.
CLG stomp TSM.
Oh.
I
I want to see it. I don't
You
think
want
it
to see
will.
I
it,
think
but
it
you're
could
not gonna.
happen. I think, and we'll get into that in a second, but I think it could happen.
I
But
just don't know.
Rockcat 3-on-1. I don't think either of those teams in a best of 5 are going to put anything on SK.
It's
I
a best.
think
What?
if you were to take
It's a best of 3, by the way. Grand finals are best of 5.
Oh, okay. In a best of 3? No, I'd still give it to SK.
What? No, no. The Eastern European powerhouse teams will always conquer everybody but Fnatic in a best of X scenario.
So what do you Rockcat versus Gambit? Which
Here's the problem. I want to pick Gambit just to spite you, but then the part of me that thinks Overpower is the greatest player in the world
the
is
part of
severely smitten.
the part of you that's thinking like a rational human being is saying,
Oh no,
geez,
no,
don't
no,
take
no.
that
Let me
bet."
let me put it this way. If I was going with my heart, I would pick Rockcat. If I was going with who would win me $1,000, Gambit. Hands down.
No, it's not going to happen. I'm telling you right now, Gambit's not going to win that game. And I think it's because
I need to make another far-fetched prediction somewhere else down the line before I curse Gambit myself.
you know why I'm so confident right now is because you just called it. And because you called it, it's going to go exactly to the opposite of what you think.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that there's no way that CLG loses to Coast, and then make sure that CLG gets my bad luck.
No.
Well, okay, but I think SK is going to beat either of those two teams in a best of 5. Or a best of 3, rather. Now,
SK
Fnatic and SK, that's a game I'm excited about.
Yes,
That's going to
I
be
am
an awesome
pumped.
game. And I'm
And
going to
I'm-
be disappointed if it's anything but that.
In
Because I think
reckless
in either
we
other way,
trust.
it's a sweep.
It's gonna be the spring of repeats, and it's gonna be Fnatic Gambit, and it's gonna go to a 5th game.
I don't want to see
You know what happens if Gambit ends up winning that one and plays SK again? They might have a huge amount of motivation after the remake shenanigans to just come back and stomp the hell out of SK.
All they got to do is make sure Svenskeren does nothing pre-level 6 and SK can't win.
Have Diamond Prox just go in his jungle and fuck him up a little bit.
Like, Diamond Prox needs to play a duelist jungler. Like, if he gets Lee Sin, if he gets potentially... Because Evelynn is a highly contested pick in that matchup for sure for both champions, or both players. But the problem is with Evelynn, you're never going to know where she's going in the jungle unless you deep ward or invade early on. So the big pressure matchup is Svenskeren not only has a 100% win rate on Pantheon this split, but he's also a great duelist at early levels. The thing is, we've seen Diamond Prox play an impressive Lee Sin and an impressive Kha'Zix, who are two very punishing counter junglers, or at least invaders and can go back and forth. The problem is, because of Pantheon's shield and the way it refreshes on his W, there's no way you can duel him at like levels 2 or 3 as one of those junglers. So what they need to do is make sure Svenskeren doesn't get Pantheon and potentially have SK ban away Evelynn and Diamond Prox dominate Svenskeren. That's how Gambit wins against SK.
Or if you do feed him Pantheon, just counter jungle extremely heavily. Don't duel him straight up, but just take away all his farms so he can't jump anywhere without dying.
There's one problem, though. If you are focusing on counter jungling Svenskeren as Pantheon, he's going to gank a lane, get a kill, and then win the game.
What if you pick Udyr against a champion like Heimerdinger, where he's just going to set up turrets?
Don't make me cry. Don't make me cry about that.
To that. What if that happens?
If that happens, good on you for predicting the team was going to pick Heimerdinger, and shame on you for picking Udyr against
Also, what if in the very small amount of time, the 2 weeks, Gambit can't find another game-breaking glitch to take advantage of?
Oh.
Slow your roll, G.
I mean,
That's not fair.
Curse won a game because of it.
Yeah. Is it the Shen ult?
Curse. It was probably Saint Vicious in the background, just saying, "Yeah, take advantage of it." It's the only way that I can hold my head high because I'm bad. We're just getting personal at this point. There's no facts behind
this podcast got really dark over the last couple minutes.
Well, we don't even need to get your prediction for the NA LCS MOT because it's just going to be Curse loses everything.
No,
That's just because I know you.
No, because I'm not thrilled with Dignitas either. I'm pretty happy. I'm satisfied with Golden Glue as a replacement for Skara. I think he's not. I think he's a player that's really going to grow into the role and do pretty well. I think with Skara as a coach, they have a huge advantage. And in one of the post-game interviews, I think it was the first game that Dignitas won post Skara. They were interviewing them, and they were just talking as a team how well Skara has been doing for them in their personal growth. And I think I don't think it matters really that much what their performance is in this promotional tournament, as long as they don't go into relegations and lose. We're going to see a whole new face to Dignitas next split. But this split,
yeah, I mean, Golden Glue might grow into the role, but he's certainly not there now. I think actually Curse has a better than even chance. I would actually pick them against Dig.
No, I mean, they have 3-on-1 over Dig, but you have to keep in mind that the majority of those games were played more than likely on with Skara and not Golden Glue. So that's one thing to take into consideration. But to me, the whole thing is pointless.
Because C9 will beat whoever
it
is.
They have to play C9.
Yeah.
I don't know. Dignitas has beaten C9 in a best of one.
Once.
That's sort of how I feel about
that's not gonna happen.
The CLG Coast matchup. Even if CHL gets through, which I hope they do because I'd like to watch it, I still think TSM's going to beat them.
The thing. Here's my problem with TSM. Even if they beat Coast, or even if they beat C9, and I think that's how this is going to end up. By the way, is I think it's going to be, first of all, C9's going to win it all. Easy. Don't even have to discuss
the finals are best of 5, right?
Right. Yeah. And I don't think any team can top C9 in a best of 5. I think CLG has a solid chance of beating TSM. I really do.
Yes.
Because TSM, there just hasn't been consistency recently, and I just don't think it'll happen. I don't think TSM can beat C9, but if they do, they're going to fucking lose every single game in the All-Stars. Because in their minds, they're going to be like, we beat Cloud9, so we're fine. We're good. None of these games matter. We beat Cloud9. We're
Everyone
number
else
one
is
in the
trash.
And then
They're
just
gonna
be
they're gonna talk like they did going into Worlds when they said easiest finals of our lives when they took down Dignitas.
Yeah.
They'll have that mentality again.
That's their problem. Is they're a mentality team, and I love them. I do. They're definitely my favorite, and they're gonna lose. They're gonna lose against Cloud9. It's gonna happen.
I gotta go with the TSM playoff mentality and go for the fact that they are going to win the playoffs.
You think they're gonna beat C9?
I
in a best
don't
of five.
want them to, but I feel like there are forces beyond my control that make TSM always do extremely well in the playoffs. And this split, C9 has
They
not
ran-
looked.
Actually, I
See,
will
here's
give
the
that.
thing, Tom.
Okay, go for
Well, I think TSM is going to do real well. I think the issue is it ties back to that consistency question. TSM has flares of greatness very often, but in 5-game series, I just think if nothing else, Cloud9 is just going to grind that out. It might be 3-2, but they're going to win.
I mean, they played each other in the finals last split, and I think we all know how that one turned out. 'Cause there's a big old 0 in TSM's win column.
I don't know. I wanna pick TSM. I really do. I think they've got the brand. I think they've got the fans. I just don't think they have the consistency.
I don't even
Cloud9's good.
necessarily have stats to back up why I think TSM is going to win. It's just
I do agree that I
it
think
just
that
happens.
they're a good longevity team. I think they're a very good longevity team. If you give them this span, like, hey, you need to win this many games, and you put them down in one, they can come back in the next. I'll support you there. I just don't think you can overcome Cloud9. Because Cloud9, they'll push your towers and take that away from you and destroy you with a team comp that can push towers down and end the game quickly. And then in the next, they're going to pick one that can draw it out faster and take you to like 45, 50 minutes. And then that's it, and you're done. You just can't beat Cloud9. That's my prediction. I think Cloud9's going to go all the way through. They're going to go to All-Stars. They'll pass their first round in All-Stars, and then they're going to lose in the next one.
Isn't it going to be isn't it going to be round robin?
I
I think it's supposed to be, so they all get to play each other. But I'm also talking from Reddit threads and stuff. So
I don't think they've actually officially released the format yet.
I would hope
When
so.
do we
But
get
if there's
to
a
vote on the
5-team,
format?
if it's a 5-team group, I'd hope it'd be round robin because nothing else really makes sense there.
Well, I'm pretty sure we'll hear more and more about playoffs as it gets closer, because right now we're still voting on players, and there's a whole entire thing we have to vote on the actual All-Star side event format still, too.
Earth,
Yep, I
Dominion,
support Earth.
Dominion.
Actually, let's take a look at the All-Star
Dominion.
voting.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Oh, that would be awesome if we could
That'd
pick
be
an Earth.
really weird.
Earth?
Captures take 80% less time.
Earth, Twisted Tree Line, Hexakill. All on the same map.
That would
Or
be
just
horrible.
magma chamber. No. Earth hexakill on the Howling Abyss. There is nowhere to run.
Okay. Let's take a look really quick at the updated All-Star voting.
It's the same, I think, as last week.
Yep. Bjergsen, Double Lift, Meteos.
Oh, double lift past Medius, though.
I thought he was ahead
Meteos
last
was
week.
always third.
Oh, I thought Medius was always second. Double lift had like 20-something. Medius had like 30-something at one point.
But it's close.
I mean, it still doesn't really matter. If they're top 3, I think one of those 3 teams is going to All Stars, and so the other 2 will make it regardless.
True. Yeah.
So it really
And
doesn't matter.
Actually, that's the perfect way to put it because TSM, CLG, and C9 really are the only NA contenders.
Here comes Ghost!
Coast.
They do
let's
well
see.
in
Hold on.
splits.
The first Coast member to be on
Shifter.
the the LCS leaderboard is Shifter, sitting currently at 16,000 votes. He has to get up to 132,000 votes to top Meteos.
Let's be honest. I'm pretty sure Shifter has more votes than most of Evil Geniuses and all of XDG combined.
Let's be honest. I'm pretty sure Riot goes in and fluffs these numbers. 'Cause
No.
they're like, wow, Cruiser doesn't have any votes. We should probably give him some so that he doesn't get super depressed that no one's ever voted for him. Do you really think that in all these days, 1,200 people have voted for these guys?
If you're a Dignitas fan,
100 votes.
Yeah.
If you're a Dignitas
You gotta
fan,
keep in mind, this is like people voting more than once. So
This
I
is
can
like
easily think that they've got
60-something
400
million
fans that
people.
voted
if
4
you're
times.
a Dignitas fan, you want Scar to go in. Can a coach even play? That's the question that's going to get answered. But on EU, it's the same thing. Reckless, Diamond, Expeke. That'll be more interesting because, first of all, ironically, super ironically, SK doesn't show up until position 13 with
Candy Panda?
Candy Panda.
Candy Panda, okay.
Yeah, for some reason Sven Skaren isn't high on the list.
Sven Skaren is
shocks me.
23 with 8,700 votes.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably only as good as he seems because he makes the rest of SK look amazing. But, I mean, honestly, you got to at least rank him one of the top 5 junglers, if not top 3 junglers in EU and North America.
he doesn't have the star power, and the last thing people remember Sven Skaren for is dropping out of NIP Copenhagen Wolves because they wound up kicking Godbro and the Tess.
Yeah. I think there's something to be said for these votes and just what actual performance matters over star power, if you will. Because honestly, like, Bjergsen's good. He's definitely one of the best mid laners. But there are definitely better overall players who contribute to wins better than he does in NA.
It's a popularity contest. That's what votes are.
Well, that's what an all-star game usually is.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
It just
I guess.
happens to not really be much of an all-star game in general.
I want to see
Well,
Skara. I want to
leave
see
that alone.
Skara in there.
See,
I want to see Skara.
Because he's not a LCS
I want to see
player
Skara, Moops, and Aranea.
anymore. Moops.
And Saint.
I don't
Get
think we
the
can
other-
vote for Saint.
No.
I don't care. I'm voting for him.
I'm good.
And I watched an interview with Curse, and I listened to them, and I heard their perspective, and I went, I don't hate Curse as much anymore. I still do. I don't
Big
think
softy.
they're great. I'm going to be really upset, by the way. Last year at PAX, they invited Curse, and Curse played, and it was actually a really cool format. They split up the members of Curse, and they invited people from the crowd up onto like an actual stage to play with Curse, and in some cases against Curse, while I forget who was there. I think it was Rivington and somebody else casted the game live in front of everybody.
That's fun.
And you could be at the other end of the convention hall, which is huge, and hear people cheering at Riot. And people who don't play League of Legends hate it because they're so there and loud. I'm excited to see what they have at PAX this year.
TForce buttons.
TForce buttons and
Whoa.
TForce t-shirts and LCS Rundown t-shirts. And me podcasting live.
The best part.
That really is. I mean, why else would you go? You shouldn't even bother.
I want to get one of those TForce mugs, but with the LCS rundown on it, so we can just keep promoting our own brand on stream.
Yeah. I got to get the podcast to your horse shirt. I'm feeling a little hoarse right now.
Well, we have been going for well over an hour.
We have been going well over an hour.
Oh wow,
Been a
yeah.
double
There's a
Super
lot of
Geek
stuff to
episode.
talk
It went
about.
quick.
There's
It went
really
real
a lot
quick.
to talk about. Let's see. Do you guys out in there in Twitchland have any questions? I'm gonna go through now. I've answered a couple of them just while we were talking. Let's see. Let's take up this one. If you all have ever heard the bridge in HA called Murder Bridge, my friend hasn't. Howling
Oh, and
Abyss.
Howling Abyss.
Yeah,
Murder
Always
Bridge.
been Murder Bridge.
it's always been Murder Bridge. A lot of deaths happen there. It's where you fight.
Good
Yeah.
luck stopping the bridge.
What just happened?
I don't know. I don't know. I ran
That's
out
what
of
the
beer
little
a while
robot
ago.
guy says. Come on, don't make it weird.
I'm drinking Riverwalk tonight, by the way. I'm done.
Where is
with- I
that?
didn't drink this entire growler. This growler
Sure he
is mostly
did.
gone.
Sure.
But this is in Newburyport, Massachusetts, right next door to me.
Okay.
It is fantastic.
We have a graveyard of growlers at my apartment because we threw a growler tasting party, pretty much like a beer festival or a mini one, and everyone brought growlers, and so that's all we have left over, and they're
So
completely
jealous.
empty. So I'm sad. You can do it yourself.
I could.
Do it at PAX.
Oh,
Just
there we
have some
go.
growlers and some beer
Yeah,
tasting. You
no, the
could do
Riot
that,
Pub
right?
Crawl. Riot Pub Crawl, right? Always
I
does
wanna
a pub
do that.
crawl. Last year they did 5 different bars all around Boston were set up as each of the respective lanes. I have them around here somewhere. They were giving out little, like those wristband things, those rubbery wristbands. They had one of those for each lane, which was pretty cool. And they also had honor badges that you could give somebody. I have a bunch of those. So that was
Did they
a ton of
disappear
fun.
quickly afterwards?
No.
Like the honor badges on actually on League?
No. But what do you got? I'm not going to be here next week. You guys are going
Commando.
Triforce.
Hey, maybe-
Triforce proper.
Maybe we got Challenger Series. We've got a whole other part of the world to talk about.
Yep. All these things that I'm totally unequipped to talk about.
Challenger Series playoffs, if I recall correctly, will be done at that point, so we will
they?
know the 3 teams.
Yes.
I was going to check that out, but I believe you, so I don't want to look.
Although I feel like NA might be finishing up as our podcast goes live.
No, it shouldn't be because unless they change it. Because the only reason why they play so late is because all the other games go on during the day.
Well, it's
But
after
first,
LCS.
for
first
other
place
games.
and third place matches are best of 5. So if you have 5 games each,
Those are long ones.
that'll be a 10-hour or longer day, pending no pauses or technical issues.
Yeah.
Good luck
Which
with that.
will happen.
Yeah.
Especially since what patch are they going to be on at that point? Are they going to
This
be on
patch,
4.5?
4.4.
Okay, so well, I guess a lot of that stuff is already run through.
The general rule of thumb is normally 2 weeks after a patch hits live, the tournament realm is updated.
Mhm.
Okay.
So let's see.
Well, I think that's just about gonna do it for us.
Are we doing predictions?
Oh yeah, the predictions. Oh my god, I'm so bad. So for those of you who are joining us early or haven't been paying attention, we had Optimus Tom and Greg Credible Mushroom choose the NA and EU picks each week. Who's gonna basically wins? Who's gonna win in each game? We had Optimus Tom and his superior EU knowledge picking EU, and we had Greg on NA. Optimus Tom definitely had theoretically a leg up because he does kind of do this for work, so that's sort of a big deal. But obviously, NA or EU is such a clusterfuck that it really could have gone either way. And I'm impressed because it did come down. Greg won. Greg won only by 3
Spoilers.
games.
Mm.
He got 25
Close.
out of the past 3 weeks, so that's 1 week
32.
of super weeks and 2 regular weeks. He got 25 games, 25 out of 32. Optimus Tom pulling in with 22 out of 32. That's impressive.
He should have a handicap for how much of a shit show that all was.
The one
He does.
handicap,
He gets paid to do it.
You know, all I'm saying
handicap
is,
is a
if
paycheck.
Gambit had won all their matches, I would have tied, and the tiebreaker would have went to me because of the remake. That's all.
So you
no,
can blame
no.
your own. You can blame your own company for that.
but it wouldn't have because they actually no. I guess you're right. I gave you the tiebreaker on Gambit versus SK only because you chose it right the first time, and then the actual team who won ended up being SK. So you got it wrong. So I was going to give you that. That was the only handicap you got. But Greg, I've ordered TForce LCS fabric, and you and I will both have TForce LCS rundown bow ties. I
That's gonna be
kind of
fabulous.
I have a leg up on all of you guys. I actually do, and I don't have it in the box because I've been wearing it. I got a TForce LCS rundown T-shirt, but I got it with @Machinorum on the back for PAX.
Ooh.
So
You son of a bitch.
It'll be easy to find you then.
Yeah, and the funny thing is
All they gotta do is look at your backside.
I'm gonna confirm this now. Let's see. Give me just a second. I'm pretty sure it's still in the store. Like, it's still available for purchase by general people.
So if we just go on, we can buy a Mont Ganorum.
I don't want
Force
that.
podcast
Only a
shirt.
Mont Ganorum shirt.
I feel like I should buy one just so we get
Yep,
the two
you can.
Toms confused.
It's 23. It's 23. And there's a lot of cool stuff on that shirt. If you're a TForce podcast shirt or a TForce podcast fan in any stretch of the imagination, there is some awesome stuff on that store, and it helps. It helps the show out a ton. We get a commission off each T-shirt. It was funny when I ordered all the T-shirts for our show. Big commission check came just filing across. It was ridiculous how much money it was. But yeah, there's TForce LCS rundown T-shirts, obviously, in both men and women's. There is the standard TForce podcast T-shirt. There is Podcast Till Your Horse T-shirt with Hecarim on there. There is a TForce LCS shirt that actually says "Want to do something stupid." That's an inside joke from the other shirt. But you can buy mugs, you can buy sweatshirts. There are buttons. It's just awesome stuff. You can even buy a onesie for your baby if you have children. How about that?
We'll have inside jokes soon. We're only what, 7 episodes in? They've got 150 or so.
Yeah, we got to catch up. We got to start doing like quadruple every day of the week.
Every LCS day.
After every match,
15-minute breakdown every night.
Oh, we should do that for Worlds. We should do a live show.
Ooh, that could be fun.
Watching it live. Although I don't know who would want to watch.
Us watching it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like watch it live while we do it. I don't know.
Actually, what I would like to do for All-Star Game and Worlds when it comes around, or maybe the playoffs and the All-Star Game, I haven't 100% decided, but I'd like to do maybe a live event. We haven't really talked about it, but some good places to watch in Philadelphia. I'd be happy to host that.
I'd love to come down to Philly. That'd be a good time.
That'd be fun. Yeah. There's a place called Kavanaugh's that I watched. Didn't watch, but we did like an Eve meetup there. And they've got everything you could want: private room, big screens, great food.
Not bad.
And they like gamers, obviously. So
Boston has a couple of good board gaming places, but nothing on the video side for bars.
Board gaming, really?
Oh yeah, big scene here. Big fan of that.
I'm digging that.
But let's wrap off this episode with our official predictions on the NA and EU side. I'm going to kick it off. I'm going to take NA and EU, just go straight down. CLG versus Coast. Excuse me. CLG all the way, for sure. They're going to get to TSM, and I'm going to have to give it to TSM. I think they have the stamina to keep it going. Dignitas versus Curse, I think it's going to be Dignitas. I think Golden Glue is going to have the synergy. I think it's going to work really well. I think Skara's done amazing work for them, and I'm going to give it a dig. But they are going to lose to C9. And I think C9 is going to be TSM. On EU, Alliance versus Copenhagen Wolves, I'm going to give it to Alliance. I'm also going to give it to Rockcat over Gambit, but I think both teams are going to lose to their parent, their round 2 matches. Like Fnatic versus SK, I don't even know. I'm going to go against what the data says, and I'm going to say it's going to be Fnatic. What's your call, Tom? Give it to us.
Let's see here. Well,
I got to write this.
Let's see. Let's start with NA. CLG versus Coast. Gut says CLG. CLG is going to take that game. I want to say Coast because I think they're great, but CLG beats them 2-1 or something like that. Dignitas beats Curse, hands down. Curse does not look up to snuff to take on Dignitas, who's looking better and better with most of their games. Semi-final round, TSM against CLG goes to TSM. Dignitas versus Cloud9 goes to Cloud9. And then TSM beats Cloud9 3-2 in the finals.
You're gonna have to go in and put that into the document because
Oh, I
you're
will.
going
Don't worry.
way too fast for me.
Oh, they're also people in chat are clamoring for predictions on who gets relegated out of the tournament.
Oh, who gets
I
relegated?
Think EG and I think EG.
Oh,
EG's
we
already
mean from
relegated.
playoffs. From playoffs.
No, from playoffs.
playoffs.
Like who makes from the tournament to relegations?
I'm gonna vote with my heart, and I'm gonna vote with my heart of hearts. Curse is gonna go fucking
Yep.
down.
Curse gets relegated.
Curse is gonna get relegated, but I think they're gonna win. I think they're gonna not get
Stay in.
fully relegated.
Well, they'll get the first choice. Whoever does like its first choice of the challenger teams.
I hope they don't, though. I really hope they get fucking kicked out and we don't have Curse anymore. Only because I don't think. I mean, I have heard about some problems that Voyboy's been having in terms of stress and just like overall anxiety, and I guess he's had to leave stage a couple times. They were talking about this in one of the post game things, but I don't think Curse is gonna go through, and if they do, I think Voyboy unfortunately is going to leave. Voyboy's the one saving thing from Curse, in my opinion. He's the one good guy.
I gotta make my EU predictions, so this is gonna be difficult.
Only because you actually have some sort of reputation here.
Yeah. Well, I gotta agree with you that Curse gets relegated from playoffs. I gotta give you that. I'm gonna throw
I
you
have to
that
put
bone.
down. Relegation. Okay, so just so we have the document straight, we have our prediction on CLG versus Curse. Tom, you chose CLG. I chose CLG. We have whatever that team is versus TSM. We both picked TSM. We have Dignitas versus Curse. We both picked Dig. C9 versus that team. We both picked C9. I picked C9. You picked TSM. So we at least have that difference.
How much chalk can we possibly have in one prediction? So much chalk.
Very true. All right. We'll do EU after. We'll just go through NA right
Yeah,
now.
everybody go NA. Everybody go NA.
Greg, what do you got for NA?
All right. CLG,
Okay.
definitely. I think TSM will beat them. And Cloud9 will beat TSM.
Hold on. What do you think about...
Dignitas against
Oh,
Curse.
Dignitas versus Curse. I actually think Curse is going to take this. I'm going to break with you guys a little bit here.
Ooh.
I don't think Golden Glue is looking as hot as you guys think he is. I think Curse will be
fired.
more consistent.
Who gets relegated though? Who gets relegated between Coast and Dignitas?
I'm going to say Coast.
All right.
They'll be back.
I think that since Optimus Tom's already made his picks, I have to go almost completely opposite, just because then I'll be right. But I've got.
That's true. We fucking just lost.
I got.
Damn it.
I got CLG actually going through to the finals, and then, but losing to C9, Curse winning, and Dignitas going into relegation.
Okay.
So CLG gets to the finals and Cloud9 wins.
I mean, yeah,
That's
I
right.
think I know it's not exactly opposite from you, but I mean they're what was it now 14-5 with Dexter. I think they're just real strong, and they've been coming together a lot better than the beginning of the split. So they're
do
peaking
you-
at the right time.
Who are you putting in relegation?
Dig.
Okay.
Big. Ooh.
All right.
Shots fired.
Over to the EU side, I had Alliance versus Copenhagen. I had Alliance. Whoever that is versus Fnatic, I had Fnatic. Rockcat versus Stupid Face, I had Rockcat. SK versus whoever, SK. And Stupid Face, Gambit goes into relegation. And that is how it is in the document.
All right. So
Officially on the
At
record.
least you're mature about it.
I have to go counterintuitive to something. Last time I spoke to Nick Allen, I told him that Rockcat was going to go to All Stars. And I'm going to have to bite the bullet on this one just because I know that Makanurum's spite is going to fuel my victory in this one. So I'm going to go with Alliance takes out Copenhagen Wolves.
Okay.
The winner of that matchup, though, loses to Fnatic.
Okay.
On the opposite side,
so we're in agreement.
where Rockcat faces off against most glorious Gambit Gaming. Gambit Gaming takes the game against Rockcat as much as it pains my heart to see Overpound not make it to All-Stars. Most glorious Gambit Gaming. It's not Stupid Face, it's Gambit. It's not changing that. The most glorious Gambit Gaming defeats Rockcat in a very close 2-1 series. And then we have most glorious Gambit Gaming going up against Sven Skaren and 4 other guys. Gambit Gaming winds up winning that matchup.
Wow.
Then we have in the finals matchup, it's Fnatic against Gambit, almost El Clasico, the clash of the titans in Europe. This happened last spring and Fnatic won 3-2. And this time around, most glorious Gambit Gaming takes 3-2 victory.
Yet, in a amazing turn of events, Gambit Gaming also goes down into relegations and loses.
No.
Thanks to you picking that. Yeah, they do.
Yeah, pretty much that's how it's going to be.
You've sealed their fate.
Then
The
Optimus
team-
Tom wakes up, stuck to his bed
The
somewhat.
team that moves into relegations, as much as I love them because they're the most fun team before a matchup to talk with,
It's not going to happen.
Copenhagen Wolves fall into relegations.
Oh, I thought
and
you were
will-
going to pick Rocket.
they will easily make it back into LCS.
So, hold on. You think in the scenario where Rocket goes up against Copenhagen Wolves, that Copenhagen Wolves would lose that game, that Rocket's going to be able to take them?
Oh yeah, I got to give Overpower love somewhere.
But is it because you love Overpow, whose picks when you started talking so much about Overpow, it's like, oh wow, I should probably start watching these games. Every pick after I stopped watching it was totally vanilla. It was totally safe.
Overpower's he's just so good. And
Sometimes.
so, all right,
You
Rocket.
can hear the moisture emanating from Tom's pants.
Last time Rocket played Copenhagen Wolves, they limited them to 1 kill and 1 tower, and they decimated the matchup. Copenhagen Wolves are going to be put on a leash by the Rocket overlords.
Hey, Tom, real quick,
I
have you
which
met
Tom?
Overpow yet?
I
Optimus.
have. I've been on a plane with Overpower.
And is there a restraining order in place yet? Because it
No
kind of sounds
comment.
like there should be.
Oh man. All right, Greg, who do you got on the EU?
Okay,
get a
EU
really
side,
tight
I'll give them Alliance.
Alliance.
I'll go with Rocket.
Okay, yeah, Rocket. Alliance versus Fnatic.
Fnatic.
We're so vanilla.
And
We need
SK versus Rocket, I'll take SK.
Okay.
I think Fnatic will beat SK.
Ooh, Fnatic. Okay. And out of Gambit versus Copenhagen Wolves into relegations.
I want to say that the Wolves will win, but I suspect that Gambit, once faced with the absolute, if you lose this, like you could seriously face the end of your LCS career, I think Gambit will rally and they'll take it. But I think the Wolves will survive the relegation.
Okay.
I can't wait for everyone's predictions to be completely screwed up by Gambit winning the first game.
They won't because that's what you chose.
Uh,
And Serial, what do you got?
I've got Rocket taking down Gambit.
Okay.
They've had their number all year, and
All right.
except for this last week.
Alliance on Copenhagen Wolves.
Alliance.
So if Copenhagen Wolves beat Alliance, we're all wrong.
Yeah.
Alliance versus Fnatic.
I've got Alliance.
I could
mix it
maybe
up.
see that.
I think that there's a
Rocket
game
versus
separating
SK.
them. There was a game separating them in the regular season. I don't think it should be that much of a sweep of everyone thinking it's just going
I
to take
think
it.
all of these games could go to like the 3 or 5 games in their
I
series.
also kind of like the idea that they're going to have, if Alliance wins that first one, they're going to have not the 2-week cobwebs that Fnatic might have. I mean, they'll be practicing, but they won't have been on the stage in a couple weeks. Might be warmed up. Alliance might already be ready to play him. So, and then I have SK going to the finals.
So you have
And-
SK beating Rockhat and then SK beating Alliance.
I don't know what I want to pick there, but I'm going to mix it up. We'll go Alliance takes it.
Okay. So Alliance, hold on.
Alliance goes all the way.
Alliance, so SK beats Rockhat and then Alliance beats SK.
Yep. And
And
then,
then Gambit versus
it's pronounced Most Glorious Gambit.
Most
Most
Glorious,
Glorious
Gambit
Gambit Gaming.
versus
MGGG.
Copenhagen
I
Wolves.
say I think backs against the walls, Gambit wins, but that'll be when they're in relegation. Copenhagen Wolves wins the best, takes 5th place, so Gambit goes into relegation.
Wow.
I want to mix it up. It's March Madness. Well, not anymore, but it's still that time of the year.
It's April Madness. Ah.
So we all have very differing opinions. There's not a single. The only thing that we're all consistently agree upon is that Copenhagen Wolves will lose to Alliance.
And CLG beating Coast, I think, is the only other one.
Yep, CLG beating Coast.
And
C9
winning everything.
Except for we think C9 will beat either Dignitas or Curse. Be it whatever we choose, they will not. You know what? I'm gonna be pissed if that happens. Like if Curse goes to All Stars, like GG, I'm done. I'm just gonna retire.
You're quitting
from
the
this
podcast.
shit. So speaking of that, we should probably just end this show.
Yeah.
We've been going for a while. I feel like Adam's already going to be pissed because he's like, oh, we'll give him a little leeway. He can go over an hour this episode.
We are at an
2
hour and
hours
41.
later.
And also, it looks like there's some weird fanfic going on in the chat, so we should probably get out of here.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Optimus Pal / Fic.
this has been an AQSX1, definitely like a long episode game. What factor attractiveness comes into? Like, what ugly teams win, basically.
Yeah, you just pick, we should have picked the brackets based on attractiveness.
Yeah.
And then Fnatic would have won like everything.
Or
EG would be going
and EG have
wasn't it? It was like some ESPN March Madness thing last year, where one of the top winners was this girl, and it was because she picked the ones with the prettiest uniforms, and it was like, I think she lost the final just by the looks of their uniforms and which color combination she liked.
I should do that.
We should pick like, all right, we should do it by champion. I think, Varus is going to have the highest pick rate and just go by that. I think we will do that.
He will if Gambit goes all the way. Woo!
We're going to do that in the next split. When we have the final split, we're going to predict in the first episode, we're going to predict the whole
top 8
split. Yeah, we're going to try to call it as best we can.
Tom, you need to get that Korean hype train. You need to get a video going like they did for Monte Cristo.
Oh man, have you seen the Korean hype train horror movie?
Yeah, no, that one with double lift.
That one was the best. Shouts out to Kumbly, aka @DrunkScara.
All right, this episode is done. It's time to take it out back and shoot it. This has been Machinorum signing off for the TForce LCS rundown. I am tweeting at Machinorum. I will be at PAX East. You will find this show on iTunes, Stitcher, and the like. Also on TrinityForcePodcast.com, the Trinity Force hub for all things Trinity Force. Don't forget to check out our other shows, Trinity Force Podcast and the Oz LOL podcast over in Australia. Thanks for coming. Everybody else want to say goodbye? We need to work on our sign off, make it more natural.
Yeah,
flow.
You're fairly bad at it.
I'm not going to take responsibility for this one.
You're the host.
What's bad at predicting EU playoff games?
No.
All
I
right,
want you to
everybody.
be here next week, so you guys can show me how it's done. One of
We
you
will.
can take the reins.
I'll sign us off, man. Hell yeah.
All right. You guys want
Leave
to
in the shroom.
Leave in the shroom.
And tune into us next week.
There you go. Don't tune into me next week because I'll
We
be
continue our Optimus Overpower fanfic here on the 24th LCS rundown.
You're gonna
time on the LCS rundown.
you're gonna tune in randomly during the show next week, and it's literally gonna be Optimus Tom just talking about his fascination with Overpower
I'm gonna
constantly
I'm
after
gonna
they
be
win
in
the.
PAX. I'm gonna be in PAX on my phone, trolling you guys in the chat. Like, hey, that stat's not right. Oh, they just retired. Breaking news. Just fucking with you guys the whole time.
Just every single time after I speak. Oh, they retired.
Do not click any links from Mott in chat next week.
No, I'm fine with them. It's just
He has
you
a
guys are trying
virus.
to throw off. All right. Well, that's it for the show.
All right. Who wants to play some Earth?
Let's play some Earth.
Sure.
Yeah.